Hey, look at me. Hey. I'm fondling his chin. This is a fairly relaxing environment. I'm busy doing something. There we go. Yeah. Don't be shy. Come closer. Come here. Come here. Come here. What if I die? Oh, I just die. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's sunny for... The common joke is it's sunny for 2 weeks of the year. It's usually always just overcast. But if you really want some sun, just get out in the morning. No one in the UK has air conditioning. No one. I've literally never been to a house in the UK that has air conditioning. So in those, like, 2 or 3 weeks, it's unbearable, Sermo. It's the worst. Because you're just sitting there sweating and you can't do shit about it. Open a window, it's hotter outside than in here. It's the worst. I'll give you a really good, like, perspective on it. Meowriza, every time she goes and visits a country, she goes to the Starbucks and she buys one of the Starbucks branded city mugs. Right? Where I live, Birmingham, again, she stayed with me for, like, over a month. When we went to go and get one, you know, for Birmingham, because, you know, that's the tradition that she has, she refused. She didn't want to remember it. That's a good perspective of it.
Literally on the way there, we had to maneuver through garbage. Like on the way to the Starbucks, we had to like go through a dark alley. People were pissing on the walls. It was just stinking and everything was garbage.
True. That is not true. That's not
literally,
true.
It's true. It's
it wasn't that bad. It was nice.
I'm
it was
about
okay.
to get arrested for murder.
It's not that bad. It's really not that bad. I only ever dated people for like 2 weeks or so. The longest relationship I had before this girl, oh, my hand stopped working, was like, I think genuinely like a month. We dated for 2 years. But, Jesus, I can't imagine that was very fun for her. Because, oh my god. It's kind of weird how it worked out. She perfectly entered into my life during the worst part of it. And then as soon as she's gone... You know what, now I'm saying this out loud, she might have been the problem. Me and her must have started dating around 15, 16. We continued on throughout this British school system called A-level. You do it when you're 16, and then you finish it when you're 18, and then they just kind of throw you out into the world. You're either a plumber after that point, or you go on to university, and just do something with maths. I don't know what university's like, I never went. I'll give you like a really quick layout for it. Like it goes primary school, which you do from 5 to 12, and then it goes secondary school, which you do from 12 to 16, and then it goes to A-level, which you do from 16 to 18, and then it goes university, which you can kind of just do for however much amount of time you want, really. During secondary school, I turned into a terrible student, and I had really, really low predicted grades. My teachers all hated me. But it ended up that I actually did okay when it came to the actual finishing the test. Like, I just studied. I finally actually tried and studied. And then I made it onto A-level, and instead of going to the school that I thought I was going to go to, I made it into, like, the nice one, in the rich person neighborhood. Like, if you drive there, you go past houses with Teslas and Lamborghinis on the same driveway, you know? Like, nice school. But, yeah. That killed me. Turns out I'm not meant for good schools. Again, bad student, didn't do very well with it. My girlfriend also went to this same school, which is kind of why I tried to aim for it. That's kind of when stuff started to go wrong, I think. Like, I was doing YouTube throughout all of it. Like, I'd started off my YouTube channel, and, you know, small YouTuber, like, I was getting 5,000-10,000 views a video, like, sort of consistently, like... I learned that, hey, there are these Minecraft servers that will pay you money to go and make videos on them. Kind of like a sponsorship deal, right? Like, you know, YouTubers do all the, you know, sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. Instead, it was just sponsored by a Minecraft server. And it was a really easy thing. So I started to do that during A-level. But the issue with all that is, I had this terrible schedule where I'd go and, I basically, getting to my school took a bus ride, and then a train ride, and then a bus ride. And that happens both ways. Its whole process takes like an hour and a half to get to school each day. If I woke up on time, what I'd do is I'd go into town, there's a little like village thing there, buy a 4-pack of like the off-brand Red Bull, because I couldn't afford the actual Red Bull, and then drink all of those throughout one day, come home, record / edit, not sleep that night, go to school, do that whole thing again, and then come back again, and then that night I'd sleep for like 4 hours, and then I wouldn't sleep the next day. So I get 4 hours of sleep every other day, every other night. That, like, that's how you develop some sort of mental disorder, dude. Like, I was referred to the school, like, their council sort of people, just because, well, okay, the one funny story that came out of it, or half funny, because of, you know, this terrible sleep schedule, I'd, like, just fall asleep. The Red Bulls, the off-brand Red Bull, did nothing at this point. I'd just be passing out on desks, again, causing more teachers to hate me. They did not like me very much. Halfway through the second year, the heads of the school, literally, like, the head teacher, the deputy head, someone on the school board, the counselor for the school, like, every important person that worked at this school, asked me, like, contacted me, called me into, like, their break room, and we all sat at this round table, and I was on this one side, like, this semicircle table, I was on the other side, in this very dark room. It really felt like I was being interrogated, but they were honestly just expressing concern. Like, they just said, like, hey, are you good? Like, are you okay? Because, you know, you're not... You're concerning us, buddy. And, you know, I guess there was some stuff to be concerned about. Like, I remember being on my phone at lunch and literally just, like, literally just Googling just ways to, you know, die, like, uninstall life. I don't know how heavy that of a subject that is, but, you know, it was a dark period of time. But eventually I had to drop out. Like, I couldn't keep up with what I was doing. I had to leave school and just focus on one or the other, and I chose YouTube, because I just thought, you know, if I go through this school thing and I take the path everyone wants me to, you know, I'd always, like, think of YouTube as just, like, what could have been, you know? Like, I'd regret it forever. Even if nothing would have came of it, I'd always regret not doing it. So, my parents, best people in the world, didn't put up much of a fight about it. They'd saw, like, you know, the stress that was kind of putting me under. Like, I'd come home and just, like, I'd, like, punch walls and shit. My knuckles still have, like, scars and shit on them. I had a punching bag that was just covered in blood, like, just because I was just so, like, I was just fucked in the head. I couldn't get my head straight at the time. I really do blame that sleeping schedule. It's really important. Sleep's really important. It was the best thing for me to do, by far. It's the best decision I've ever made. Yeah, I don't know where I'd be without that. When me and my girlfriend broke up, it was after dropping out. What I was making at the time when I was in school was like $2,000 a month. And $2,000 a month is a hell of a lot of money for someone that's 15, 16, right? Or 17 at the time, sorry. It's a ton of money for someone in school at 17. But it's not a lot of money when you're on your own. When you're not in education and that's the only thing you've got. It suddenly turns into not very big of an achievement. Especially something that's so unreliable as YouTube. And so I just focused everything I could on that. And that's... You know, that was my fault. Yeah, I just didn't really have time for her. And then we broke up. She ended up cheating on me with one of my friends at a party. But, you know, I think that was more like, you would have seen it coming. Like, obviously no one, like, expects to get cheated on, but... And it was, yeah, that was pretty bad. I think she was like the last person I think I had contact with. Like, I didn't speak to anyone else. When I dropped out, I left, like, everything behind. All my friends were at that school, and somewhat, like, you know, again, my fault, but I didn't have, as soon as she broke up with me, I had nothing besides YouTube. It was all I had. I had to make it work. It had to work. There was no other option. So I just worked for like 2.5, 3 years straight. And I honestly, until we were talking yesterday, I didn't realize it had been that long. I really didn't. I think when I was describing like how I became a YouTuber, I really didn't realize it's been this long since I've hung out with a friend. You know, like I'd always like have family get-togethers, I guess. But I never really there's not really anyone in my real life that's like a really good friend, you know? Like I've never really I'm thinking about it now. There's it's really weird. I'm going through it in my head now. I really haven't spoken to anyone in fucking 3 years. Fuck. Oh god.
I'm sorry you had to have this realization while Peter Griffin's fucking staring at you.
It's good. I hate his beady little eyes. It's so... oh, God. He keeps twisting his arm all menacingly, too.
My favorite part of this story is my girlfriend started talking to me randomly when my life got very shitty, and she just left just as my life was getting good again. I wonder
yeah, she missed out, huh? Silence. Ah! It was one of those things like same friend group. So when she left, everyone left, you know? It's hard to like, yeah, I don't know, like we just never really made time for each other after that, I don't think, because, you know, I was busy and everyone was busy. I was just an asshole. I went through like I just didn't talk to, it was literally not their fault at all. I'm almost positive they tried to reconnect with me. I just didn't. I just knew that, I don't know why I thought like this for so long, but it was just, I just knew like, if YouTube didn't work, then everything was fucked. In my head at the time, if this one thing didn't work out, I had put all my eggs into this basket, and if it didn't work, everything goes bad. Everything bad. So, I just didn't want to take away from doing it. I just, you know, I felt like if I did anything besides that, then it would all go bad, which is still something that I struggle with today. Like, going out to go and see someone now is like an effort on my part now for some reason, because it's just this, I just keep thinking in my head like, oh, you're not working, and you know what happens if you don't work? You die. Like, that's what's going on in my head whenever someone asks me to hang out. Which is not very, you know, that's probably not healthy, but that's what I wanted to try and work on in you know, this year. But that's my New Year's resolution, is to talk to more people and actually say yes to things. It was literally something that hit me last month. I was on a phone call to meowriza, and then this is exactly what happened, because I remember it so well now. We were getting on a FaceTime call with all of the people that meowriza had introduced me to, and she went, "Oh, who else can we add? Like, do you have anyone to add?" And I just went, "No, I don't know anyone I don't know anyone that would join this call right now. Everyone that I know, I either haven't spoken to them for a year, or they're in America, or something like that. I just know through like a mutual Twitter friend request, or like friends on Minecraft or Discord or some shit like that, or YouTuber friends, like that wouldn't join, because we didn't talk that much." So I just was like, oh, that's the realization where I was just like, I don't think I know how to make friends. And I only really realized that recently, I guess. But, you know, I'm gonna grab this mushroom like it's a...
I wonder if he's still talking.
Well, as long as Finn is gone, do you want to interview me instead?
It's cool that you're able to look past the British accent into who they are as a person.
But I can barely do it. I can barely do it.
This brings me an awful lot of childhood, like, nostalgia. This is so sick. This is, like, genuinely, like, this is kind of a moment for me. This is genuinely, I'm having a bit of a... This is cool. But you have friends when you're a teenager because they're there. Like, it's opportunistic. There's a kid in your class that you kind of get along with. You've sat next to them for a few subjects, so now they're your friend, right? Like, but when you're in your 20s, a meaningful connection coming about is a lot harder, right? Like, you've got no reason to have to associate with someone, so you have no reason to want to get to know them besides just their personality. It's a weird thing, right? Like, they always say humans are social animals. Like, we really do need people around us. But, you know, there's not really a good way to find them. I mean, like, in your class, guarantee you weren't friends with many people outside your class. Like, in your class in school is always like, what, 30 people or so? You got like 30 people to make friends with, and you've got to choose someone roughly there. Like, you're not gonna find the best people, and you'll grow apart in weird ways. Like, my friends back in primary school are doing... Oh my god. I don't know if they're alive. I wouldn't know. I kind of just lost touch with them. Like, one of them does, one of them's like a DJ now, doing a ton of drugs. One of them's like, one of them works somewhere near me, because I actually saw him a few weeks ago. And I don't know where the rest went. They're just, you grow apart because it's convenience, you're right. I used to like them quite a lot though. But you know, maybe I'll go to their rave, take some meth, who knows? All in the interest of socializing. Friends that do meth together, stay together. That's the saying, right?
That's what they all say, yeah. That's the famous line from the Trainspotting movie.
You're the only non-British person I know that has seen Trainspotting. You earned a lot of points with that with me. There's definitely people that, like, were really nice that I regret losing touch with. But, you know, it's always for a reason, isn't it? You know, like, they've in more of an instance of they've grown apart from me more than me growing apart from them. You know, this feels a bit like you're about to murder us. We're just dead at the back of a train. It kind of feels like you're gonna push us off or something. We're very cornered.
That's the vibe I try to give off.
You're very threatening. You know, you got a lot of stature.
Hey, guys, watch this 360.
That was sick.
Damn. Oh.
Hey.
Oh my god.
720.
Whoa. I'm spinning. Oh, this was a bad idea. Oh, this was a bad idea.
Guys, watch out.
I mean, how many times have you heard that a solution to feeling a bit better is just talking to someone, and I just didn't have anyone to talk to. I could have talked to my parents, and I honestly, at times I wish I would have, but, you know, I don't know. I didn't want to go and talk to anyone. I didn't want to go and see people. I didn't want to go and have friends. So I didn't, and I just stuck at the YouTube thing. You don't like talking to your parents about shit like that, I guess. In all fairness, I needed something like this. This would have probably been really beneficial to me back then, if I could just anonymously just talk about shit, and no one would have known me. It's such a blur now thinking back on it, right? Because there's no, like, there's nothing that, like, took place that's super notable, because, like, there wasn't anything. I was just doing nothing besides working on Minecraft YouTube. It kind of just feels like it barely happened. It's a really weird way to put it. Again, I've never thought about this before, probably. I've never thought about phrasing it. I've never had the conversation I had with you to anyone in real life. Never. I've never spoken to someone at that, like, length and depth about it. Weird. Again, I'm terrible with feelings. I don't talk to anyone about anything. I went to the only time I ever had to speak about my feelings, I had to, because back in A-level, when I was having all these, like, issues, they referred me to go to a GP, which is a general practitioner in the UK. which is just the person that would assess you for depression, which is what they thought I had. And I went there, and I tell him what's up, and he goes, "That's probably depression." And he gives me kind of an option, like, "Hey, you can take some pills, or you can go and go to therapy or whatever." But I don't know. Having that conversation with him was essentially he just sat there, didn't make eye contact, went, "Okay. Do your parents abuse you? No. Okay. Alcoholism? No. Do you take drugs? No. Do you, have you ever murdered? Well, you're probably fine. They don't really talk. It's so impersonal. So I never really had a good. I don't know. No one ever teaches you to talk about feelings and shit. And then when you don't for so long, it's just hard. That's one of my favorite childhood memories, man. They're so cool. Look at him. I think I'm gonna this year, 2021. I'm gonna get. I'm gonna just talk to more people. I'm actually gonna try and talk to people instead of just like not doing anything and hope they come to me. Maybe I'll try and maybe I'll get a girlfriend. Maybe. That's a big maybe. They've got to put up with me. So props to anyone that can do that.
If you could tell everyone in the world one thing, what would it be?
Oh. This is genuinely like being inside a Sermo video. This is really cool. You know how many times I've watched these? Sleep well. You'd be really surprised on how important sleep is for overall well-being. And I hope no one ever has to have a bad sleep schedule ever again. Really messes you up. Life pro tip.
That was 3 hours. That was 3 hours of me sitting here muted. That's the fucking most quiet I've ever been. I'm on the brink of death.